Hello everyone and welcome to FRIAR'S Desk Live, where we talk about spiritual insights, inspirational stories, and innovative ideas. Albert Einstein once said, "Science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind." Can science exist without faith, or does faith necessitate science? Joining us in today's panel is Brother Antonio Cervando, PhD of De La Salle. Brother Bo, can I call you Brother Bo? Okay. Can you introduce first yourself?
I'm Brother Bong, FSC of the De La Salle Brothers. Our work is purely into education, and through the years I have been assigned to about 8 La Salle schools in the Philippines. And it has always been emphasized through our teachers and through our administrators how to make education in any field relevant to the students. No? May it be science, may it be math, may it be other subjects. No? So always to relate whatever the cerebral would take into a very practical application of things.
Okay, thank you. At his left is Sister Angelina Julom, PhD of UST.
Hi, I'm Sister Angelina Julom from the Congregation of the Sisters of the Holy Family of Nazareth. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I have been teaching here in the University of Santo Tomas since 2005.
All right, thank you. And of course, our Dean Rey Donne of UST.
Good morning, Father. Good morning po. So my name is Rey Papa. I'm currently the Dean of the College of Science, and in terms of research, I am a freshwater biologist.
Oh, because I have here so much of the list, no? The Doctor of Philosophy, etc., Master and Bachelor, no? Pero wag na yun. But before we delve on to our topic with the faith and science, kindly get us back to your fondest memories, no? In your life when you were young. What are your childhood memories po? Have you engaged how did it pave the way for your interest in science? Maybe we could start with Sister Angie.
My childhood memories with my family. Actually, my father is just a farmer, but he was also a faith healer. And he healed people through prayers and herbal medicines also. My mother is a housewife, but he was also engaged in helping women delivering their child. So parang siya yung midwife. Wala kasi kaming doctor sa aming town before. No? So yung papa ko at saka yung mama ko, yun yung doctor at saka midwife. So I really believe that I'm inspired by the way they do things. You know, as a farmer, I think they are also engaged in scientific research, not formally, we can call it research, but if we consider science as the step-by-step observation and I think it's also objective, very objective observation. So I believe that even farmers, even they are not that educated, they engage in science in doing their responsibilities. And this, whatever they do, is considered as objective, common for all of the farmers and those who are living in the remote areas.
But do you remember any memory of your childhood na nag-inspire sa inyo na you will deal now with science? Of course, you have been influenced by the family, but what were you doing? Or are you trying to make a research na dati or discovering something?
Actually, Father, when I was 3 years old, I was already very interested in emotions. So as psychologists, we study human behavior and mental processes, especially emotions. So that time, I was considered as the youngest for 4 years. But I wanted to understand the feelings of my older brothers and sisters. So I wanted to become a also an older sister. So one night I cried asking for a baby sister or brother because I wanted to understand the emotions of those older siblings.
So dati pa pala, no, when you were still young, there is this feeling of engaging towards the psychology side.
Yes.
So,
Observations. Father, and then wanting to understand.
and that's even before the calling.
Yes, because I was still 3 years old during that time.
So we go to Brother Bong. When you were young, were there any influence from your family, and how did you go about when you were young?
Yes. I grew up in Negros, known as the sugar land of the Philippines. And if time would allow, my parents would always bring us a family to the farm, and it would always pass through a creek. And after visiting, it would always be, I swim there. But as I grew up, we noticed that the creek was getting dirtier and dirtier, that we were not allowed to swim on it anymore. So there, with that experience, I became more conscious of how, we should care for the earth. To the extent that in my work now, I try very much to connect how sustainability and at the same time, making sure that we don't add up any more to wastage. So every time I had a chance to sit in the construction committee or risk management meetings, it would always be, how will this affect the environment? The greatest challenge we had now in De La Salle University is we're planning to build a 10-story structure that we are accused of connecting our waste to the creek in Leverisa. LLDA was there and the likes. But then when they did the dye test, it was proven that it did not come from our school, but rather from the other connection of pipes. So here you could see we try as much as possible to get our students know about those things and get involved in how to help it out.
Any family that was influential with regard to your curiosity and discovery of things?
Maybe it was more of my father who brought us to the farm, and of course it would be my mother who made sure that things that is provided in table is something that everyone will enjoy, and telling of stories how things has been. We are 8 in the family. You have to be present, breakfast, lunch, dinner, or else, your other brothers will finish your food, or, you end up, you don't complain. Just be there, or else your other brothers and sisters. So it's more of the parents imbibing into our minds the importance of what nature can give us and how to take care of the sources of this food that we take.
If we take care of our environment, our nature, the nature could also give us something too. Right? Dean Papa, now we are curious as the Dean of Science. How did your childhood memories go as influential towards your discovery of your interest in science too?
My father was a medical doctor, and my mother is a psychologist. Both are Thomasians. And of course, I grew up in a house where there were a lot of books, and I naturally gravitated towards reading the science books and the history books and my dad's old textbooks. So I guess that kind of naturally stimulated my curiosity and my interest in science. But then I also grew up in a very normal childhood na nanghuhuli ng mga tutube, ng mga salagubang, nangingisda sa creek. And then every time the family gets the chance to go out sa beach, rather than just swimming, I would go out and observe the different animals that I would be seeing. And I guess that was, and then I remember during weekends, my mom used to teach in Tagaytay. And then my dad and I would join her so that we would have a family trip as well. And then while my mom was doing her class, we would be staying in one of those huts. Bago pa dumami yung mga bahay at restaurants sa Tagaytay, marami pa yung mga parang mga kubo-kubo. So we will just be there for hours, and then my dad will be telling me stories about Lake Taal erupting in the 70s and even earlier, and or all the urban legends associated with Taal. And so probably that stimulated my curiosity about the lake and the volcano, and now I'm doing research on Taal Lake. So, yun
So
po.
everything started, I'm sure the students would also agree, no? That everything started out of curiosity, that the things that we don't understand, we try to grapple with all those questions, and we try to answer them, but we don't have any answer at that time. Kaya siguro yung curiosity natin, from then on, nandyan pa rin sa atin, that curiosity that brings about our thirst also for knowledge. Now, we go to the religious life now with both of the sister and the brother. At what stage you felt the calling to be a religious? Because you are talking of the influence of the family with you in the science, but how about the calling now? Because it's not just the science that you were called, but also the faith. Sister, can you please get us back to that the first calling that you felt?
Well, I believe also that God calls us in a mysterious way. Sometimes you don't understand it's already a call. But when I was in grade 2, I saw my eldest sister delivering a baby, her first baby, and she cried. It was very painful. So I went out and I was thinking, what am I going to do in order not to deliver a baby? Because it's very painful. So, and then I remember my mother and my Lola told us there are only 2 choices. If you won't die, you get married. So I said, I don't want to die, so I probably get married. So I talked to my friend. I said, if I'm going to get married, I'm not going to sleep with my husband because I don't want to get pregnant and deliver a baby. It's very painful. And then my friend said, why don't you get married if you don't want to sleep with your husband? But what I'm going to do? Because if I won't die, I get married. So, no, there is another choice. There is, you can be a sister, a nun. And that from that time, I started contemplating becoming a nun. But my vocation really started after high school. That I felt this like hunger or thirst that cannot be satisfied with anything. And then I realized when I got involved with the church activities that I was the one who got lost, actually not God during the time, but I was not within my calling. Because when I was already in the church, I was so satisfied even we didn't have the monetary like salary. We didn't have the salary, but I was so happy. Yes.
Was it a walk in the park to have for you to be a religious? It means that is it easy to be a religious?
It was not easy. Actually, I asked God because I was the head of the catechist during the time. I asked God, 2 years, Lord, I'm going to serve you. But after these 2 years, please let me know what is your plan for me. And then, like I was already 1.5 years, one of the catechists asked me to read the letter from our congregation, from the vocation directress. She was an American, so English. And then she said, when I look at the address and the picture, I felt that like the desire to write also. And then when I got the response of the sister, I read it even 10 times a day. Like falling in love, no? Na parang binasa ko ng paulit-ulit. And then after 8 months, she came, no? And then I entered the convent.
Pero are there also sacrifices also that you have made and even joys amidst those difficulties or challenges?
Actually, when we make like big decision in life, we always feel that we are in the crossroads, you know? Because during the time, even when I was already working in the church, I also had my business. So my business was going well. And then, plus, my parish priest did not want me to enter this congregation here in Manila because he said, I will not be able to serve our parish anymore. So he introduces me to the sisters nearby, RVM, and then they were calling me, but then I prayed, Lord, because I was confused during the time already. Which one are you calling me to serve? So, and then I dream. I dream of an angel, no? Actually, angel having this trumpet, tut, 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 and then the Holy Family came. So that's why I entered to the Sisters of the Holy Family of Nazareth.
Okay, thank you, sister. How about you, brother? There are also questions though. Bakit di kayo magpare? Tama ba? Kasi there are people who are asking, hindi ba lahat kayo nagpapare? Hindi ba pumasok ka dyan sa loob, no? And everybody gets to be a priest. Bakit kayo brother lang?
That has been the question also every time we had a chance to talk outside of La Salle. Because if we talk with our students, they understand our work. No? Maybe why did I become a brother na hindi pare? Maybe it's more of my personal friendship with the brothers. I went to a La Salle school from grade 1 to grade 5. Went to an Augustinian school grade 6 until first year college. Then I went back to La Salle. I had nice memories of the brothers. In grade school, we were all boys in La Salle, Bacolod. The brothers were very present, but they were also very strict. I remembered the brothers giving us our report cards, and if your deportment is C, or if you have a failing grade, at that time, it was still possible. Now, of course, it's not possible. The brothers would enter our rooms with a paddle, and they hit our behind, no? And we're supposed to say, thank you, brother. And of course, it reaches our parents, and the parents sometimes will not complain. Now you're not supposed to touch even your students. No, I remembered when I first taught in Green Hills, they assigned me to grade 3. Brother, if something happens, you just tell the kid, follow me. Do not hold on to a student because at that time, it was all boys. No? As a grade 3 teacher, they told, I was the only male brother in the grade 3. I was assigned to wash a kid who poops. But they say, brother, you keep distance, you just point the hose, and you don't touch the kid. Okay, which is like that. So anyway, going back to the experience of the brothers, and then when I came back to La Salle, Bacolod as a second-year college, I got in touch with the brothers again. So they invited me, they asked me, I am not an education graduate, I'm a commerce graduate. But then when I joined the brothers, they said, if you are really serious, take your education units, take your masters and teach. So when I taught in different schools, I was able to come up with 5 basis why the brothers is for me. First is, this is where I accepted myself with my imperfections and qualities. Second, this is where I met my God. I don't know if you have experienced this, but I grew up in an environment wherein the church was focusing on the sinfulness of a person. But in the 80s, things has changed. The focus now was on the unconditional love of God. So it became very real. Third, I enjoyed teaching, preparing classes. And fourth, I noticed that my students are learning from me also. So those are signs. And then fifth, we live in a community of men. We are all brothers. And to live in a community of men raised differently could also be a challenge. Even in your own family, you have lived together, sometimes you fight. How much more with a community of men? So sometimes you forgive, sometimes you don't forgive and just forget, and that thing. So I think at the end of the day, anything that would interest us would always ask us, what gives you meaning? How can your giftedness be seen by most people? In such a way that, that's why I always say that any school that the brothers assign me, I hope I will leave the school a much better place, a more financially stable school. That is why, if given a chance, masabi, why did I not become a priest? Maybe because it's my own relationship with the brothers. So anyway, to make the long story short, kami na brothers ay lalaki na madre. Because we could not marry and we could not say the mass. So that the focus will be purely into education. So more or less, that's how my vocation story. But for sure, there were challenges. One time I went home. I was a young brother. I was 26 years old. Parents will always be parents. My mother took my wallet, look at what is inside my wallet. At that time, as a young brother, you still keep pictures. So I kept pictures of students who gave it to me. Teachers were close to me. So my mom said, why are you keeping pictures of women or girls? And I told her, Ma, you should be thankful they are all girls. You should be afraid if I kept pictures of boys and men. So she ended up telling me, sige, you collect more. So anyway, to make the long story short, I think it went through a stage. And then later, you just focus on the work. And then the question, anong problema mo? Anong gusto mo mangyari ngayon? I think even in married life, single life, other religious life, there would always be challenges. Because I want to believe you will never appreciate rain unless we have a very hot summer. You will never appreciate your nose until you get a cold. You will never appreciate your co-teachers unless she's gone. So this thing about experiencing challenges, I guess you will never love your wife if you did not fight. You will never know about faithfulness if you have a girlfriend and you get attracted to another person. I'm not saying I don't get attracted. I still get attracted, but I appreciate the person. That I can go beyond, this thing, and this too will pass. That one I try to remind myself. Challenges in life, temptations, difficulties in community, not understanding the work given to me by the brothers, I will always say, this too will pass. I still have time to learn about it.
What are those difficulties, brother? Are there
okay.
the difficulties and how you manage to go with them?
Okay. So the brothers, we are assigned to a certain school, sometimes 3 years, 4 years, and we are moved to another school so that more or less you will not be attached. And at the same time, allow the other brothers to come and maybe share their own talents and gifts in the work. So sometimes for me, lately, it has always been the concept of transferring, adjusting again. Because you are assigned to a school, maybe you know 3 or 5 people, but you are involved in a work that would entail a lot of dealings. I don't know if this culture is also true in UST. In the first few years, I have Okay. I would have in De La Salle, if I say Miss or Mister, I will be corrected. No? Brother, I'm a doctor. Okay. Doctor, blah, blah, blah. You know. So, but there are some, brother, don't call me anymore doctor. Just call me Eileen and the likes. No? So sometimes the adjustment on that.
It's the adjustment that you make you find it difficult to deal, no? Because you have different institutions to partake of. So after that, after the religious, we can ask also Din Papa, were you also called? were you also were you also called to you know, to the religious life or to priesthood kaya at some point in your life?
Yes, Father. Because I studied in Marist School from preparatory all the way to high school. And then, of course, UST. But then it was during my elementary days. I remember, I still show it to my students sometimes when I give lectures. My parents encouraged me so much when I said that I wanted to be a priest that I had a ninang who was a nun and a ninong who's a priest. And some of them gave me parang pambata na pari-parian na laruan, and I used to pretend I was saying the Mass. This was grade 2, grade 3. So dumaan po ako doon. But then, I think by the time I was in 5th grade or 6th grade, nabawasan na yon. Napunta na dun sa hindi po ako magpapare. But then I had teachers who thought I was going to go to the priesthood. I remember my religion teacher in grade 5 was giving me pamphlets of San Carlos Seminary, was encouraging me. And then after college, because all my classmates thought I was the one who was going to be a priest, were surprised that I decided to teach. And then we had one of our classmates, actually Father Louie knows him, no? Who we had no inkling when we were in elementary and high school that he would be going into business and what. He became an Opus Dei priest. So nagbabaliktad talaga, Father, no? Na parang hindi, akala mo dun ka pero hindi pala, and then eto nag-iba-iba siya.
Who was the influential person or people na nakita niyo sa sarili niyo na I want to be a priest at that time?
Ano po kasi, Father, so my family is very religious. They were very active in the parish, and I was also very active in the parish. I was a member of the Knights of the Altar. So my frequent interactions with the parish community, with our priests, I think that was very important. And then of course, yeah, my godparents who were religious, isang pare, isang madre, they were always role models. So ayun, until such time that it naturally evolved and I went to this path.
But what made you decide naman to answer the call, not to the religious or priesthood, pero sa married life? Ano yung what sparked in you na hindi ako sa pagpapare, dito ako sa married life?
I met the one. No, so ayun po. So dun na, after nun, then I had already relationships, so then progressed from there.
All right, thank you, Dean. Now we go to our topic, the faith and science. Your vocation is called it's a vocation, it's a calling within a calling, vocation within a vocation, being both a scientist or leaning towards science and a religious, no, or even a married person. How do you navigate and manage this potential tension or dynamics towards this science and faith? We start with Sister.
Actually, I really believe that faith and science are intimately interwoven together. I don't have problem with the conflict between science and faith, because I believe as a scientist, even this time that I am a psychologist, I am involved in research, especially with my students, and also giving psychotherapy, psychological assessment. I couldn't believe, I couldn't do these things without faith. So I believe that scientists cannot do things if they do not believe, if they do not have faith, that by doing this step-by-step procedure, I will arrive at a very good conclusion that can help me grow and can help other people. So I would say that faith is a driving force that allows scientists to discover something. Because if there is no faith, if they don't hope for something, they will not do the step-by-step and very tedious process.
Sister, there are also questions that faith and science are in contrast and oppose each other because they said the science, faith cannot answer science, no? Whenever there is a scientific investigation, they said, oh, we do not need any belief or faith because it will just ruin things, no? Because you are very logical, very rational. Where can we see faith coming in?
I think it's just based on our rigidity in defining faith and science, because people defines faith as something, it's a belief in something that is beyond observation, beyond vision, cannot be observed, cannot be proven, while science based on facts. No? You can see it, it's objective, many people see it, experience it. But when it comes to psychology, I think psychology is the bridge by which you can understand or you can unite both science and faith. Because I would say, for example, faith cannot be seen. But then, like for example, prayer, you pray because you have faith. But then people who have not experienced the effect of prayer, they pray and then they try to pray. But when they experience this consolation or enlightenment coming from God, actually it's already proof. And that they continue to pray. They cultivate in them the religious practices or life. No? So if we are just we stop in defining faith as something that is beyond, cannot be seen, we cannot unite faith and science. But if we consider senses, emotions, even enlightenment, wisdom, it's there. It's there. And it is also in science, like especially in psychology. You consider emotions and mental processes that cannot be seen, but it can be penetrated by science. That's why it's not a problem to unite science, because for me, I cannot do scientific things without my faith. If we can simply describe it as belief, it's fine. But for me, it's faith. When it's deep, if you use it for as a motivating factor for you to conquer these difficulties of going through scientific investigation, then it is faith.
So you see the interlink between science and faith, sister. Brother Bone, there is a saying of Stephen Hawking, no? One cannot prove that God doesn't exist, but science makes God unnecessary. So he sees a contradiction between the creation and God. How do you look at that?
Okay. Maybe I would like to base it on my dealings with our science teachers through the years. Though it has been emphasized that the integration of values in the science subjects, sometimes it's more of how our teachers also deal with the students. In most of our schools, our teachers may not be able to express or connect science, their faith to science, but sometimes it's more the relationship and the witnessing of the teacher. Because I think just like in any Catholic school, the start an end of any class, no, with prayers is a beginning of such a thing. No? And the more it becomes meaningful if sometimes the discussion on a science subject is related to something very religious. I shared with Father earlier how I enjoy telling stories of my first cell phone in the year 2000. Now it's 2025. The evolution of the cell phone has exceeded any person's mind, no? And it will continue to evolve. And you connect it to religion, wherein, don't you think we as human beings should also evolve into something? We are here in UST for 4 years. Have you improved or have you evolved after you leave UST, or you're the same person? This concept also of to who do you credit all of these things? Do you credit it for because of your own initiative or your own efforts, or you credit it to somebody better? I think nobody will disagree with me that when you went to UST, for sure your parents would remind you, please don't forget to pray. Please don't forget to go to Mass because we cannot watch over you anymore. So my point in this thing is, you may have your own mindset of how you will deal with your knowledge and gift in science, but at the end of the day, it is hope that, the faith that you had when you were small will continue to guide you.
So they do not oppose each other, but they go through a journey. No? The students also, even the scientists, should acknowledge that there is faith in them, that God journeys also with them, even though they are doing mundane things, but we see that God also journeys with them in their faith. Dean, Papa, how about you? Do you see any potential difficulties in merging the two?
Actually, Father, the reason why in the College of Science now we have this advocacy towards promoting better union, or thinking that there's no conflict between faith and science, is a personal experience I have. We have a collaborator. He's a Belgian, a well-known Belgian scientist. And he visited the university, I think, a few years after I finished my PhD. So I was touring him around. And he said that, I'm surprised that you're able to teach evolution here in this Catholic university. Aren't you facing any difficulties and challenges? Aren't you being asked to change the way that you teach biology? Because I'm sure the priests will frown upon you teaching evolution. So I said, no, I've never encountered any such experience wherein I was checked on by my superiors or even the Dominicans about how we teach science. And of course, as a biologist, the theory of evolution is something that is part and parcel of how we teach biology. And so that became a challenge for me, that I think there is a need to educate people, even our students, that there should be no quarrel between being, having faith in God and being a good Christian or being a good Catholic and being a good scientist. Because, from years back, there have already been good examples of scientists who came from a religious background and or scientists who have been trained in Catholic educational institutions. And there wasn't a single story about them being checked on how they teach or how they do research. And so we need to inculcate to our students that as scientists who are being educated in a Catholic institution, that there should be no quarrel between your faith and the way that you do your science. So, yun po, Father.
So talagang hindi tayo nanggaling sa unggoy?
Well, in terms of evolution, it was a process. It was a long, difficult process.
Right.
No, but now we're here, and we're related.
Related. In fact, the universities before they were started by the religious, no, by the religious people were curious and investigate so many things about the universe, about the nature. Then they started to cultivate the education of the people, no. On our last segment, may we ask you to give us your closing remarks and give your message to our students and to those who are listening. Maybe we could start with Brother.
As you go through college and learn a lot of things in the field that you are interested in, it would be nice to also really see somebody greater than you guiding you and moving you towards that direction. No? It's really up to you who that thing or that person is. It could be a God on my end. It could be somebody that you believe in. But the main thing is that it should bring out the best in you and that you share yourself to others. You know, I really believe, I don't know, forgive me, fathers, if my thing is wrong. I think when we die and we face our Creator, He will not ask us, are you Catholic? Are you Iglesia? Are you born again? You know, I think the Creator will ask us, how did you lead your life on earth? Meaning to say, your gifts, your talents, katalinuhan mo, no? Ang kakayahan mo, mayaman ka man o hindi. Because all of these things we cannot bring with us. So, yun lang siguro ang gusto ko. And lastly, appreciate your UST tradition. You know, Brother Jebre here is an Eritrean working in Ethiopia, studying now in the La Salle University. When I told him that your school has 40,000, that is really something. You know, mean to say for UST to have 40,000 students is a sign that it is a good school, the tradition has proven it. Therefore, you should make your mark in continuing such a tradition. No? Become your best self, believe in somebody is greater than you, and that you have a purpose in this life.
Thank you, Brother Bong. That's a good message. Sister Angie.
So I believe, based on my experience also, that we cannot reach our goal in life without faith. We need to have faith in ourselves, faith in the people that sustain us or support us, and above all, we need to have faith on someone who is very powerful, which is God. I would like to, again, summarize the relationship between faith and science in a very simple way. I would liken the science as food, and faith is the nutrients in the food that you cannot see. When you eat your favorite food, like for example, fried chicken, you can imagine the taste. You can taste it and then you crave for it. But you are not thinking what kind of nutrients can you get from the food. But even without recognizing the nutrients in the food, nutrients is sustaining your body and your mind. So faith is the nutrients that sustains you.
Okay, thank you, Sister Angie. And lastly, with Dean Papa.
I think in my case, the more that I get to understand and the more I get to know about what happens in our lakes, how they function, how the organisms there live and interact with each other, how many species there are that are thriving in our freshwater environments, the more that I appreciate the wonders of God's creation. So it gives, minsan nasasabi ko, ang galing talaga ng Diyos. Dahil nandyan lahat yan, hindi naman yan nagmula lang sa wala. And I always attribute it to my God, to our God. So that inspires me to continue doing the science because I get to contribute to a better understanding of God's creations because I still believe that all of this came from God. So yun po, Father.
Thank you, Dean Papa. From Pope John Paul II, science can purify religion from error and superstition. Religion can purify science from idolatry and false absolutes. Thank you to our guests who have given their time and presence, Brother Bong, Sister Angie, and Dean Papa. And thank you everyone for watching and listening with us. Laudare, benedicere, predicare. And let us all praise, bless, and preach the Word of God. Have a good day, everyone, and God bless us all. And this is Friar's Desk Live.